and gentlemen, today it was the Supreme Court that turned the pages of the Bengal files, the documents that have been at the center of friction between the ED and TMC government. And in its first reading of what followed the ED raids on I-PAC premises on the 8th of January, the Supreme Court voiced concern over a series of interferences by the TMC, part of a pattern highlighted by the ED. At the heart of the case are the January 8th raids, the day when West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata stormed into premises being searched by the Enforcement Directorate and walked out with documents and files and digital devices. The ED says those were crucial pieces of evidence linked to the Skoll camp probe. The TMC, on the other hand, claims it was their poll strategy data. Since then, both sides have rushed to court, both claiming to be victims of data theft. But today, the Supreme Court has clearly sided with the ED for now. It described the allegation that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee caused obstruction in an ED probe as very serious matter. The top court agreed that there is a need to examine whether a state's law enforcing agencies can interfere with a central agency's investigation. It said the rule of law must prevail and offenders cannot be allowed to be protected under the shield of a state's law enforcing agencies. Simply put, it is a setback for the TMC government, because ED has alleged that Mamata Banerjee, who is not just the Chief Minister but also the Home Minister of West Bengal, used state police to interfere with its functioning. The Enforcement Directorate has told the court that action must be taken against the Bengal DGP and Kolkata Police Commissioner, claiming they acted at the Chief Minister's behest and were party to obstruction in the raids and even removed CCTV footage from the raid site. The Supreme Court has now stayed the FIR filed by West Bengal Police against ED officials, ordered protection of CCTV footage and issued notices to Mamata Banerjee and the state government, the DGP and senior police officers. The BJP calls it a serious indictment of Mamata Banerjee and her government, but an undeterred TMC is sticking to its fighting pre-poll interference claim, ably supported by the Congress party.
Central agency will interfere with the political party just before election. That is also not good. Last evidence which has been taken by them in this statement is 21st February 2024. Thereafter he was sleeping altogether. Now when the election is forthcoming, then he was jumping upon.
जहां जहां चुनाव होगा वहां ईडी पहुंच जाएगी और लोगों को आतंकित करेगी, प्रताड़ित करेगी। मुझे लगता है कि ईडी की कोई साख बची नहीं है, देश का बच्चा बच्चा जानता है।
ये पूरा देश और पश्चिम बंगाल की जनता आज कह रही है, तुम इतना जो छुपा रही हो ममता बनर्जी, तुम इतना जो छुपा रही हो, क्या डर है जिसे दबा रही हो? ये क्या डर है कि ये फाइल अगर ईडी के हाथ लग जाती तो आपको चिंता हो जाती? कौन से राज खुल जाते? क्यों इतना भयभीत हुई?
What happened at the I-PAC premises was not the only obstruction that caught the Supreme Court's attention. The Apex Court has also taken serious note of how the Calcutta High Court hearing in the same case was derailed the next day on the 9th of January. The hearing had to be abruptly postponed after unmanageable chaos erupted inside the courtroom. The Enforcement Directorate has now told the Supreme Court that WhatsApp messages were used to mobilize crowds inside the court on the 9th of January. Messages circulated in a group called Legal Minds allegedly summoned lawyers to assemble inside the courtroom. Moments later, there was pushing, shoving, shouting. And within minutes, the judge was forced to walk out. The ED calls it mob pressure inside a court of law, and the Supreme Court asks the most damning question of them all. Are courtrooms being turned into protest sites? Are they becoming the next Jantar Mantar?
आपसे मैसेज भेजे गए, टीएमसी के गुंडे कोर्ट के अंदर आते हैं, माननीय न्यायाधीश को डराने का काम करते हैं, और जब निर्भीकता से कोई न्यायाधीश नहीं डरता है तो वहां इतना शोरगुल हल्ला मचाते हैं कि उच्च न्यायालय को अपने आदेश में कहना पड़ता है जो वातावरण अभी यहां बना हुआ है ये शांतिपूर्वक सुनवाई के लिए उचित नहीं है। मैंने ऐसा नहीं देखा, अराजकता फैला रही है और उस व्यक्ति का नाम है ममता बनर्जी।
All India Trinamool Congress strongly condemns the Enforcement Directorate growing pattern of overreach. The All India Trinamool Congress will not be intimidated by investigative agencies being misused to disrupt democratic process and target the opposition parties.
The constitution doesn't exist in West Bengal right now. ऐसा ही लोग महसूस कर रहे हैं। Total absence of law and order.
The Bengal government has time till February 3rd to respond to the Supreme Court's notices. But on the charge of obstruction, the record shows this is not an isolated episode. The TMC chief has repeatedly stepped in when central agencies have moved against her party men. In October 2023, when former Bengal Minister Jyotipriya Malik was arrested in the ration scam, Mamata Banerjee defended him. In August 2022, when the CBI arrested TMC leader Anubrata Mondal in the cattle smuggling case, Mamata Banerjee once again rallied in support. In May 2021, when the CBI arrested TMC leaders in the Narada sting case, Mamata Banerjee sat on a 6-hour dharna outside the CBI offices. And in February 2019, during the CBI's Kolkata standoff in Ponzi scam, Mamata Banerjee staged a 45-hour sit-in protest. The CBI had then gone to question Kolkata Police Commissioner Rajiv Kumar, the same Rajiv Kumar who is now Bengal's DGP and is somebody who's on notice from the Supreme Court for aiding and being present in obstruction of the raid by ED on the 8th of January. And his suspension is specially being sought by the ED today. The Supreme Court's intervention today is being seen as a setback for the Trinamool Congress, even as the party vows to battle on. The BJP, however, says a bigger setback will come not in courtrooms but at the ballot box.
छोटा मोटा धक्का तो मिलता ही है कोर्ट से, लेकिन अंतिम जो धक्का वो हम देने वाले हैं बंगाल में ममता बनर्जी को।
So that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the news hour tonight. Is creating sound and fury and causing obstruction of processes of law a strategy for Mamata Banerjee? That's the question, and that's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate in the Supreme Court. Also joining us is Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Vivek Silas, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Somnath Bharti, former Minister of Law, Tourism and Culture in the government of Delhi and senior Aam Aadmi Party leader. But my first question, Tausif Rahman of the Trinamool Congress, national spokesperson, is to you. Tausif Rahman, the Supreme Court has also prima facie found that the actions of the Chief Minister of Bengal were not in accordance with the law of the land, which is why the FIRs filed by the Bengal police have been stayed, notices have been issued to her and the DGP. According to me, this is a huge indictment of the manner in which the proceedings happened. That you have a problem with the ED, merit in that case will still be decided, politically motivated, whatever. But can the Chief Minister walk in, take law into her hands? On that question, I don't think there was any ambiguity. Also on the question of turning the courtroom into almost a protest ground like Jantar Mantar, clearly doesn't add any value to Trinamool Congress and its politics.
गुड इवनिंग नविका जी एंड गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल माय फेलो पैनलिस्ट। देखिए नविका जी, कुछ तो गड़बड़ी है तभी इतनी हड़बड़ी है बीजेपी को। एंड सच वर्ड्स, तमाचा लगा, सेटबैक हो गया, द पिक्चर अभी बाकी है। देयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू डिसाइड एंड वी थिंग्स विल बी कमिंग विद ऑल फॉर्म ऑफ एस्पेक्ट। द ऑल इंडिया तृणमूल कांग्रेस firmly believes in the rule of law and respects the constitutional institution, Navika ji. The party has full faith in the judiciary and will continue to place all the facts. I mean, at the same time, the IPC strongly condemns the Enforcement Directorate growing pattern of overreach, forum shopping, and politically motivated action. But anyways, I'll come to the point. So, if you see the two-judge bench of the apex court, observe, it is true that no central investigating agency has the authority to interfere in the election-related activities of any political party. Not coming from me, coming from the judge. I hope you have seen the proceedings as well. So, at the same time, the court questioned whether a central agency, if it is investigating a serious offense with honest intent, can be deprived of its power to conduct the probe merely on the pretext that is with the party work. अब आप जज साहब की बात सुनिए, उन्होंने जो भी कहा सराखों पे, so ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट, एवरीथिंग विल बी सबमिटेड इन 2 weeks, 15 days का टाइम है हमारे पास. So let's wait and watch. तमाचा थप्पड़ गिरा के मार दिया, कर दिया. I have been listening from all days. This is a court proceeding. This is not a case series सास बहू का झगड़ा. And whatever comes, Navika ji,
certainly not.
Online.
I don't think it is सास बहू का झगड़ा. This is not सास बहू का झगड़ा. This is law and order झगड़ा, my friend. And I have been asking from day one, can I behave like this? Can the common citizen of this country behave like this? The manner in which Mamata Banerjee and the DGP obstructed the law of the land?
Whatever we did, we had a fundamental right. We had our rights of privacy. And if the Honorable Supreme Court is not with us, of course, a judgment will come and we will face it. Now there is a FIR which has been stayed, right? We are not obstructing anything. We have to wait till 3rd February and everything will be दूध का दूध पानी का पानी. अब आप ममता बंदोपाध्याय को गाली दो जैसे गौरव भाटिया जी करते हैं, आपको जो करना है करो. अरे कोर्ट पे केस है ना, let's wait and watch. ED says, Navika ji, please, 30 seconds. This is the best part of your show. We can speak at least. ED says there was no fight, no obstruction, no forceful activity. So again, there is a contradiction according to the Panchnama. You say we haven't seized anything. Now you started the raid around 6:30, but you couldn't find a single piece of paper and the device till the chairman of TMC arrived. But आप क्या कह रहे हैं? सारा डिवाइस ले गया, हर डिवाइस उन्होंने ले गया. अरे एक आईफोन और एक लैपटॉप, where I-PAC is having more than 50 desktop in his office. दीदी क्या मतलब उनका 10 हाथ है? हाँ, वो दुर्गा है, मैं समझता हूं. बंगाल उनको दुर्गा मानता है.
Well, this is not a political rally, Tawseef bhai. So Durga Ma hai, more power to her. I always appreciate Durga Ma Roop in every woman of this country and anywhere else. So I appreciate that. We are on a point of law. She walked out with a green file. Everybody saw that. But you're saying the ED is contradicting itself. Well, Gaurav Bhatia, please respond. They say they have their fundamental right to oppose the breach of their privacy. Please respond.
Paul, I think today it doesn't matter what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been saying or what
Mamata Banerjee says. One thing has been established now after the order of this Honorable Supreme Court, where it stayed the FIRs registered by the Kolkata police, that if there is lawlessness and if it has a face and a shape, it is Mamata Banerjee and her government. And why do I say that? I just want to read a line. Justice Mishra clearly said it is also directed that the FIRs registered against the ED officers shall remain stayed. Now this is an indictment. This is reprimanding the Mamata Banerjee government. Second, fundamental rights. Now TMC would talk about fundamental rights. When Mamata Banerjee failed even protecting the fundamental rights of the citizens of the country and people who were staying in West Bengal, this is what I have to say. Whose fundamental right is it to obstruct the proceedings of the court, Calcutta High Court? The Honorable High Court Judge of the Calcutta High Court has clearly stated there were lawyers and other people who were asked by the TMC person, it seems from the WhatsApp message, that please come to the court proceedings. This is nothing but obstruction of delivery of justice. And therefore, I think it is contemptuous. And Supreme Court has taken cognizance of that. Third, what is lawlessness? What is anarchy? Mamata Banerjee today is symbolic of anarchy. And I'll tell you why. For Shahjahan Sheikh, you remember the TMC leader? He was being shielded by Mamata Banerjee when he was wanted by the Central Investigating Agency. But the ED officers who are dutifully doing their job have been named in the FIR, and that itself shows how she targets the ED officers, the CBI officers, and the NIA officers. What else is anarchy? And I must also say, what was behind the file? Today it needs to be asked. A chief minister who was to aid and assist the investigating agency was actually destroying evidence. She was raiding the ED officers who were conducting a raid. This itself shows that she is very, very nervous. And today I would reiterate, is a tight slap of rule of law on the face of Mamata Banerjee's government, because she has now failed to actually govern the people of West Bengal and is only supporting the goons of TMC to hold on to the power that she has.
Well, I'll cut through the chase of the political rhetoric and I'll come straight to the question, which is the real question. And Somnath Bharti, I want to ask you. Somnath Bharti, you are a senior lawyer yourself. You've been a law minister. I want to ask you, today's Supreme Court verdict, doesn't it actually put there in black and white that this is not some tamasha going on? This is not a political slugfest. There has to be a rule of law. Anybody who has objections to it can go to a court of law, question the mandate, raise any kind of questions in a court of law, whether it is the High Court or the Supreme Court. But first, interfering and obstructing a central agency, then taking law into your own hands, armed by the DGP of the state. These are serious questions. And these are not my words. The Supreme Court has called this a serious matter where we have to decide whether the rule of law will remain in this country or the law of the ruler will remain in this country. I'm not even getting into the merits of the case. Question is, can courts be turned into, Jantar Mantar, the way it was done in Calcutta, and can chief ministers across the country, if whichever party they belong to, can there be a separate law for them than the citizens of India? These are the only two crucial points. The politics will be fought, when the ballots take place. Right now, I want the law of the land.
Navika ji, very good questions you have asked. Kindly permit me to explain whatever you have asked. See, the misuse of ED, which I call Election Department of BJP, started with Aam Aadmi Party. In the case Arvind Kejriwal versus ED, the Supreme Court says this. I'm quoting Honorable Supreme Court only, and I'll keep it to that only. They said election proximity of an action of ED heightens scrutiny. Courts must be alive to the chilling effect on democratic participation. They further said, criminal process cannot be deployed in a manner that effectively incapacitates a political actor during election unless arrest is demonstrably unavoidable. So the question is, why this happened? See, you had 5 years of time to act on that, the complaint, the case. But you are acting when? What you did in Delhi. When the election was near, you arrested, Arvind Kejriwal ji. Prior to him, you arrested Manish Sisodia ji, Satinder Jain Saab, Sanjay Singh, and what not you did. Just after the election, Navika ji, do you ever see any ED raid, any ED action? Nothing. They are now seeking time again and again from the High Court to file a reply in the cancellation thing. Question is, this ED's status today has been brought down, and there is a constitutional crisis which has been imposed on the nation by none less than BJP, the ruling party. Now comes this. See, look at this. What have they said? ED has said in the Kolkata High Court. They said we did not take anything. So for hours of raid, you did not take anything from side. It proves that raid was primarily to curb the political interest of TMC in West Bengal. That's all problem.
Well, if it is proved so well, then the Supreme Court would have said it, Somnath Bharti ji. Inferences of things that have not been concluded is a right that only a politician can have. The right that a politician uses like yourself. आपने law को छोड़ दिया, आपने Supreme Court को छोड़ दिया, आप सिर्फ concentrate कर रहे हो ED पर. मैं पूछ रही हूँ लॉ ऑफ द लैंड में मैं ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट कर सकती हूँ कि नहीं. एंड ईश्वरन मंडारी, Somnath Bharti ji has commented on everything except the moot matter that was in front of the courts today, the moot matter that his country is watching as to whether there are two kinds of laws, one for you and me and one for netas.
Navika ji, that is why people are going round and round in circles, whereas the issue is very simple. Let's say a central investigative agency, it could be any government tomorrow, is investigating an offense as per the powers given to it under the law. Can any individual, any bureaucrat, any politician go based on their own assessment, based on their own whims and fancies, say this raid is for an ulterior purpose and I will destroy evidence, take away evidence, conduct myself in a manner so that the investigative agency cannot function? If that is allowed, then what is to stop any human being who is accused of a case to do the same and say, in my perception, this is done wrong? It is not your perception. If you believe you have some case, you go to court and you get a stay on the FIR registered by the ED, or you get a stay on whatever is the predicate offense and you get a protective order from the court. If you do not have that, you cannot rely on your status as a senior politician or a chief minister or a home minister of a state and then go and scuttle the entire investigation. That is the root point. That is the question. Are we heading to anarchy? Are we heading to lawlessness? Where if a central agency is carrying out its mandate, you will register an FIR on those officers, or there will be a gherao of their houses, or they will be intimidated, or they will receive some threat, and then you will come out and say we are fighting for democracy. This is not the fight for democracy, and that is why today in Supreme Court, let's see what happened. The notice was opposed very strenuously. The court said, no, we are issuing notice. The court stayed the FIR on ED. The court is given a very short date, just 2 weeks, sufficient time to give the best defense, but not a long date, and is going to act further in the matter. In my mind, 1 second, this, if any senior minister or a chief minister acts like that, that's a complete breakdown of law and order. That could lead to a president rule being imposed, but that's a call for the government to make. But this behavior, this sort of action in which you send a message to the common citizen, if you are under raid, it's a different law. If I believe somebody is under raid, then I can do these actions, will not lead to a system functioning. That is why Supreme Court had to interfere. And let's see now what it does on the next date of hearing.
Absolutely, but thankfully we common people don't break the law. So we don't need to know this. But Tausif, yes, what's your objection?
Navika ji,
you can't, you would be jailed.
A government, no.
You can't. If you did this, you would be jailed.
Ishkaran ji, I heard you. A government body who's acting like a private body, who's working for BJP, wants to come and sabotage the West Bengal election of 2026, and you want us to just sit and clap hands. This is not going to happen.
Stop. Stop. You said, 1 minute, I'm asking you, I want an explanation on the expression you used. You said a government body acting like a private body. I ask you the same question. A government body, which is Mamata Banerjee, DGP and everybody else in tow, actually going to protect a private agency, I-PAC, फिर वो भी तो सही नहीं है ना? That is also not right.
Navika ji, thank you so much for bringing this up. I-PAC is a private agency authorized by All India Trinamool Congress. It is going to become a party office, if you say so, as per Suvendu Adhikari, Sukanto Majumdar, and all the BJP unit of West Bengal. They say I-PAC हमारा party office है. So I don't understand whether I am lying, you are lying, or the court is lying. So of course, I say the same, that of course I-PAC is a party office where the strategies are going to be held from there. And you cannot just enter and take our strategies and then you sabotage the West Bengal election. Now let me tell to Shiran Bhandari ji, judges caution against the shielding of offenders. The Supreme Court observed it is extremely important to examine this issue to ensure the rule of the law is upheld in the country, and both the central and the state agencies can function independently. It must be also ensure that no offender escapes accountability by taking shelter behind state law enforcement agencies. Several large and important questions are involved in this case. अरे हम तो आपको support कर ही रहे हैं. We are not running behind. We will be there to hear all the procedures and all the proceedings. But why are you jumping the gun? And one more thing, 10 seconds. Now you see about the WhatsApp chat, what is written in the WhatsApp chat. To gherao the courtroom, any specific date and who were they. So you cannot jump the gun again. आप कोर्ट को डिसाइड करने दो. क्या हाई कोर्ट के जज ने एक बार भी कहा है कि टीएमसी के गुंडे आए हुए थे अंदर? So my question is to Gaurav Bhatia ji. Gaurav Bhatia ji एक learned advocate है.
Can I respond?
Gaurav Bhatia ji, please respond.
Navika ji,
Gaurav Bhatia ji, I'm coming to you, Ishkaran. Gaurav, respond.
One by one. So even during the hearings, it was made very clear, and I have a copy of that WhatsApp message that was sent by the legal cell convener of TMC that please gather in the court. And what is the proof that people apart from advocates gathered there to create ruckus? I'm reading from the order of 9th of January 2026, and I quote, "The matter is taken up for consideration at this juncture. A huge number of learned advocates as well as other persons entered the court, create enormous disturbance and commotion, and therefore the environment is not conducive." So this is the answer. You write it out in the court through your lawyers. You don't send your TMC goons there. Please be quiet. That's the judge,
mentioned by who?
Judge,
mentioned by the judge or mentioned by the ED lawyer?
Don't waste my time. You can raise your queries later. No, this is, I'm reading the order passed by the Calcutta High Court judge. 1. 2. Navika, let us understand that no one is above law. A chief minister is supposed to aid and assist an investigating agency. But here, say if there was a common man obstructing ED officers from collecting evidence and conducting a raid, you know what would happen to that person? That person would be behind bars. Because if you are obstructing a public servant from performing his duties, that is an offence under the BNS. Destroying of evidence is an offence. And as the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said, even theft of file and phone and laptop is an offence. He also used the term dacoity. Third, look at the anarchy. 1. The Chief Minister herself rushing to the place where raid was being conducted. It was still going on. She obstructed that. Is that not enough to call her an anarchist? 2. She has a problem with the ED officials. He registers an FIR against them. That is a sign of an anarchist. The Supreme Court, rightly so, stays the FIR. Stays the FIRs. 3. The DGP and the police of West Bengal, they are assisting Mamata Banerjee because they are under pressure. They are there to serve the people of West Bengal. They are not there to serve the Chief Minister in illegal acts and in commission of crime. And last but not the least, I would say the Calcutta High Court order itself proves the anarchy by the
No, you don't believe in Calcutta High Court, Gaurav?
Yes, please ask.
No, 1 minute. The Calcutta High Court and its order is here, and the judge has said that a large number of learned advocates as well as other persons entered the court, and that's why he went away. And this point has been mentioned in the Supreme Court and noted. But Tehseen Poonawalla, the moot point, I mean, I think we've been hearing this now for 10, 11 years that ED and CBI are, wings of the BJP government at the center. Well, that was stated about the ED and CBI when the UPA government was in power. Nobody is under any understandings as to who controls these agencies when they are in power. Everybody knows it. In your time, you control them. In the BJP government time, they will control them. My question is not even on the merit of the case. My question is, can you obstruct any investigation that is being conducted? After all, a charge of corruption, a charge of money laundering is an important charge. And it isn't as if we haven't seen notes, bundles and suitcases of them coming out of a minister's house earlier in Bengal. Even if there is a suspicion, why not investigate and get to the truth? Why is there obstruction of the investigation and a chief minister, no less, walking away with files and devices? Unheard of, isn't it? So why are we protesting so much? This is not the law of the land.
Navika, for the first part, I actually concur with you. None of us on this panel, no matter what position we take, are under any illusions that the agencies are controlled by the BJP. So thank you, and Tausif and I, on behalf of Tausif, thank you that you accept that the BJP
Made the other part. When you were in government, it was controlled by you.
Did. Let me go a step further. Amit Shah ji was harassed. Let me go a step further. He suffered. But Navika ji, I remember an interview to Times Now, the most honorable prime ministerial candidate gave, and he said, I quote him verbatim, it was Times Now, uska bite nikalna, वो बाइट निकालना प्लीज. उन्होंने कहा, मैं एक नए भारत की रचना कर रहा हूं. माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी बता देते नाविका जी को कि नया भारत पुराने भारत की तरह ही था, यही होने वाला था. Then Modi ji says, जो मुझ पे बीती, I know how these agencies were used. Modi ji should have told you, Navika, that because they were used against me, I will now use them. He should have said it. What Modi ji promised, Navika? He said this will not happen. Now Modi ji's defense is, oh, it was used against me, so I will use it against Mamata ji. First. Second, I agree with you.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Oh, so no, okay. So that means, so the justification, because past is on. Gaurav, you must allow me to speak. I've come in after 30 minutes. So past, future, now, please, please me. Now, second. Partho Ghosh's house or somebody, lot of cash. Thank you, my brother. I really
smile.
Thank you. Lot of cash was reached.
Allow me to moderate. Meri naukri to mat chhino. 1 minute. Okay, go on.
I completely agree. Lot of cash was recovered from a female friend of the ex-BJP, ex-TMC minister's house. Lot of cash. Mamata Banerjee kicked him out of the party. Cash, 300 crores in cash was also recovered in Uttar Pradesh in a raid. That cash, it turns out, was a friend of the BJP, not a friend of the Samajwadi Party. Did that person go to jail? 8 crores cash was also recovered from the son of a BJP MLA.
So you're making this like the Diwar dialogue where he says, जाओ उस आदमी को पकड़ कर लाओ जिसने मेरे हाथ पे ये रखा था, जाओ उस आदमी को पकड़ कर लाओ. My friend, that's not how the law works. Ishkaran Mandari. Gaurav, I'll give you a chance because Vivek Silas is also here. Let him also speak and then you respond. But I want to ask you, Vivek Silas. Every time the bahana is कि इसको देख लो, उन्होंने ऐसा किया, उसके साथ ऐसा किया. That's not the point of the matter. The point that we are debating today is, even if you are calling, and that's why I'm saying, even if everybody in this country accepts the fact that ED is a political body, चलो ये भी accept कर लेते. लेकिन when it is doing its job, can you intervene? Can you interfere? The court says no. Should the Bengal government now not apologize to the people of this country because it's a wrong example being set to the common citizen?
No, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Supreme Court what they took note of, that as to why, because this question was raised by Mr. Kapil Sibal today, as to why the ED is going to election-bound states, whether it's Delhi, whether it's UP, whether it's Bihar, whether it's Chhattisgarh, or any other state for that matter. And the Honorable Supreme Court took a note of it, ED is just working as a tool of the Bharatiya Janata Party, we all know that. ED followed by the Ghuspaitias goes everywhere where the election comes. You can see we have all the evidences. But ED is blindfolded. What happened in Mumbai today? People are taking out videos and floating it in the market that cash, huge thousands of crore of cash was distributed amongst people in Mumbai, in Ulhasnagar, in Aurangabad and Nasik, and ED is taking no note of it. Even mobile phones, pressure cooker, juicer, mixture grinders were also distributed in Maharashtra today itself. Why is ED blindfolded in that where it's come to the advantage of the Bharatiya Janata Party, I-PAC has also worked for the BJP, hasn't it? But ED was quiet at that time. The role of the ED is raid.
दर्द हुआ? I-PAC का आपके साथ भी काम था ना?
raid, blackmail, and take, donations from the people who are into, cow slaughtering, who are into money laundering, who are into, this gaming apps and, gambling. You take the money from there because it's uncounted. You don't have to pay income tax.
Respond.
That is the role.
Litany of charges against you, Gaurav Bhatia. Please respond.
Two pleas that have been made. One is the timing of the ED raid, and second is political vendetta targeting opposition parties. Now, to both, I have to say this, Navika. Timing was argued today in the court also by very able senior advocates, my colleagues, Mr. Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi. But the relief was granted to the ED officials, and indictment was for Mamata Banerjee. So let us first understand
Bhatia, they have
what the Supreme Court
a note. Sorry to
and
interrupt
I'm very
you.
surprised.
They have taken a note as to why ED is raiding.
One is taking note and the other is an order. So let's not get confused which took precedence. Please. Gaurav Bhatia.
Yes. So Navika, I was present there for the hearing. I know what exactly took place in the court, and I am also officer of the court. Whatever facts I state with some responsibility. I'll never mix the facts. So the indictment is for Mamata Banerjee's government, and I am not surprised that Samajwadi Party, Aam Aadmi Party are not even speaking how Mamata Banerjee has been reprimanded where she was a party by name. So that is the serious part. Second, if you have a problem, why don't you go to the High Court and the Supreme Court and say political vendetta is being carried out? Like 12 parties had gone to the Supreme Court, their petition was dismissed. So what came out finally was Supreme Court has faith in the ED and the CBI, and thus these opposition parties can come in the studios and give these arguments.
But when they are supposed to argue in the Supreme Court,
15 days to the TMC.
Their arguments
Let her reply.
don't hold any water.
She still has 15 days. Let her reply and let the justice be done by the court. You cannot do justice sitting in the studio.
Absolutely. Nobody else can do justice. The Supreme Court will do justice. But are you missing the woods for the trees? Vivek Silas, you're making a point that the Supreme Court has taken note, but the Supreme Court has given an order that
I have a point for Samajwadi Party also.
I'm running out of time.
Any points for Mr. Bhatia?
I waited for my turn.
And I'd like you have given four. You have been given
Mr. Bhatia, I'm running out of time. Ishkaran wants to come in. Tehseen and Somnath Bharti ji. Ishkaran, quickly, 30 seconds.
No, let me complete my point.
Navika ji, just 30 seconds. We are making political speeches here, but a country is run based on the rule of law. The law is, even if you believe that an investigative agency is an agency of a central government, tomorrow somebody could say West Bengal police is the agency of the party in power there. That does not mean an individual can take action on that central agency. You have to go to court, establish it in court that what the agency is doing is at the best of a central government or the state government and get a stay. You cannot lead to mobocracy and then say, make political speeches on television and say this is how the country will be administered. That is lawlessness.
Absolutely. And anarchy is not a situation that we in this country can afford to get into. We did a snap poll. Supreme Court, disturbed by the TMC, termed the word TMC mobocracy. Can Bengal's Chief Minister justify her actions? Yes, say 13%, no, say 84%, can't say 3%. 84% believe that there is no justification for the actions of the Bengal Chief Minister. Well, we are heading into elections, but just heading into elections, does that mean that this country can hurtle into anarchy? That's the question the common man wants to know. Can there be two kinds of laws? One for them, the netas. Are we children then of a lesser God? The common man of India? That is the only question. As far as the political battle is concerned, well, it's going to go on forever and ever. After all, this is India. This is our Bharat.